During a predictably softball interview, convicted felon Donald Trump and hosts from the Fox Propaganda Network desperately tried to launder Trump's infamous history of threatening and attempting to jail his political opponents. And after the moment went viral for its hypocrisy and dishonesty, the rest of us brought the receipts, and we have to talk about it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to look at in this video. Ever since Donald Trump became a convicted felon, which he is, one thing you've been hearing with increasing frequency from MAGA Republicans is this idea that President Biden and the Democrats have weaponized the Justice Department against Trump. Now, that's not true, and they have no proof for their claims. But more than that, it's predicated on this notion that Republicans have not attempted to do the same, that if what they say is true, the Democrats and Biden have uniquely transgressed. But what's funny is Donald Trump is legendary for campaigning on and publicly threatening and even attempting while he was president, to go after his political opponents. And MAGA Republicans rewarded him for it. They cheered it on, they celebrated, and they wish he would have been more successful than what he was. So I want to play this clip from this morning's interview on the Fox Propaganda Network where the convicted felon Donald Trump tried to launder his history of demanding his political opponents be prosecuted. And Will Cain, in particular, this Fox propagandist, attempts to help him do it.
I want to follow up on what Rachel asked you, though, because I hear you struggling with it. I hear you say it's a tough question, a bit unsure. You famously said regarding Hillary Clinton, lock her up. You declined to do that as president.
I beat her. It's easier when you win. And they all said lock her up. And I felt, and I could have done it, but I felt it would have been a terrible thing. And then this happened to me. And so I may feel differently about it. I can't tell you, I'm not sure I can answer the question. Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people would all say lock her up, lock her up. Okay. Then we won. And I said pretty openly, I say, all right, come on, just relax. Let's go. We got to make our country great. Yeah. And it would have been, think of it, you lock up the wife of a president of the United States.
But they want to lock you up over $130,000 of an accounting thing. And
a perfectly stated accounting thing. But, you know, people also say, can you bring the country together? And the answer is yes. Success will bring the country together because I had it together. Yeah. Before the China virus came in, I had it together. We really had it together. And it would have stayed. I think it would have stayed. Everybody was doing better. The country was.
Obviously, the convicted felon Donald Trump is rambling incoherently because I think in real time, not only is his brain disintegrating, but he's also self-aware enough to realize, oh my God, I've lied about this so many times that it's hard to keep track and how to spin it. So we will come to the fact that as the candidate, Donald Trump, in this election cycle, has continued to publicly threaten to prosecute his political opponents. We will come back to that. But I just want to remind you, when he says that he never said that he would lock Hillary Clinton up, that it was other people who said it, Donald Trump is lying to the American people. And those Fox propagandists are either too stupid and to recognize the lies, or they are engaging and complicit in the lies as well, because Donald Trump repeatedly threatened to jail Hillary Clinton.
Crooked Hillary Clinton. Oh, she's crooked, folks. She's crooked as a $3 bill. Just came out. Lock her up is right.
So crooked Hillary, crooked, you should lock her up, I'll tell you.
I'll tell you something, though. It's very lock them up. You shouldn't lock them up. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary.
There you go. That's Donald Trump, the same Donald Trump who is now saying he never said those things. Well, he did, and any Fox propagandist or MAGA Republican who pretends otherwise is a liar or a moron, or perhaps both. So then the question becomes, okay, fine, he did say it, Trump lied, you got him, but did he actually attempt to do it? Well, yes, he did. As Phoenix Ranger Prodigal Son points out on Twitter, Trump said to his DOJ to investigate, hunt for a reason to indict Hillary Clinton. His obsession with her meant they investigated her for every day of his presidency, right up until Trump's last days, and they found nothing. And he's got a headline here. Justice Department investigated Clinton Foundation until Trump's final days. Donald Trump and his allies tried to cast the Clinton Foundation as corrupt, but the years-long investigation sputtered to its conclusion without charges. And again, we brought up this article to this great op-ed from MSNBC, fact-checking Trump's revisionist history. Again, we're going to read this. To the extent the reality still has any meaning, let's review the receipts. In Trump's first year in the White House, after the 2016 election was over and Clinton largely withdrew from public view, the then president publicly pleaded with the Justice Department to go after Clinton. Okay? A year later, in 2018, the then president told White House counsel that he wanted to order the Justice Department to prosecute Clinton. Ahead of Election Day 2020, nearly 4 years after Clinton's defeat, Trump again publicly called for Clinton's incarceration and lobbied then Attorney General Bill Barr to prosecute Clinton for reasons unknown. None of this was kept secret. It happened out in the open. We all saw it play out in public. The problem is Trump did target Clinton after the 2016 election and did try to have her prosecuted. It's not a matter of opinion. It's simply what happened, whether the Republican assumes we've forgotten or not. And of course, he has assumed you've forgotten. He's desperate to hope you have forgotten. It's easy to forget. Listen, as I pointed out on Twitter recently, one of the scary things about Donald Trump is he has said so many stupid, dishonest, hypocritical things that it is virtually impossible to keep track. We only have so much bandwidth in our memory. This is his colossal advantage. Steve Bannon, his top advisor, says he floods the zone with shit. And it's so difficult to keep track of it. This is his advantage in this media ecosystem and with our short-term attention spans. But it is a fact that Donald Trump himself called for the prosecution of Hillary Clinton. That is a fact. That's not a matter of opinion. Anyone who says otherwise is a liar. It's also a fact that as the president, Donald Trump did try to prosecute Hillary Clinton. The fact that he was unsuccessful is not to his credit. This is the other thing that MAGA Republicans do when you finally force them to accept something approaching reality. Okay, fine. Sure, he wanted to lock her up. Sure, he tried to have her locked up, but he didn't do it. That's because he's incompetent. That's because perhaps the people he's targeting are not guilty of crimes like he claims they are. Perhaps it's because his own Justice Department recognizes, this looks a hell of a lot like political persecution. There's not much substance here. We're not going to cooperate. Donald Trump doesn't get credit for any of that. Again, would you give credit to an attempted murderer for trying and failing to murder somebody? Of course you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't. The moral transgression is still there. The attempt still counts. The fact that he failed is a reflection of his incompetence or perhaps his opponent's innocence or perhaps a combination thereof. But Donald Trump doesn't and shouldn't get any credit for that. But they want to give him credit for it because they're unprincipled losers who should be made fun of. I'll also remind you of this clip. That, again, this is the ultimate trump card. Folks, keep this in your back pocket when Donald Trump complains about weaponized justice. This is what he said to Maria Bartiromo on the Fox Propaganda Network 1 month before the 2020 election.
Unless Bill Barr indicts these people for crimes, the greatest political crime in the history of our country, then we're going to get little satisfaction unless I win, and we'll just have to go because I won't forget it. But these people should be indicted. This was the greatest political crime in the history of our country, and that includes Obama and it includes Biden.
Donald Trump, as the sitting president, publicly and privately attempted to prosecute his political opponents. That is a fact. That is not a matter of opinion. Again, and I urge you, for those of you out there who are having these conversations, because I know it's not just me, reject the premise. You don't owe these people the benefit of the doubt. When they say, oh, Donald Trump didn't do this, you say, no, you're wrong. I'm right. You're wrong. Donald Trump did try to do this. If you say he didn't, you're a liar. We have the receipts. You have nothing. Facts don't care about your feelings. And if you want to talk about weaponized justice, if you really, really genuinely believe that President Biden and the Democrats are weaponizing the justice system against Trump, you're entitled to that deranged belief. You have no proof for it, but that's fine. You can take it on articles of faith. It can be like religion to you. But if you're consistent, if you genuinely have an issue with weaponized justice, then you must also condemn viciously and outspokenly any attempt by Trump or Republicans or any public call by Trump or Republicans to do the same. And when they don't do that, and they won't do it, then you realize you're dealing with a hypocrite. And then again, you have to reevaluate the sort of relationship there. But this is why I'm so ruthless on this. And I encourage you all to be as well, because MAGA succeeds in part, due to a number of reasons. Number one, again, the fact that they flood the zone with shit and it's so hard to keep track. But the other thing is they really work hard and they're very good at it at convincing you to play the game of politics by total asymmetry. You give them so much charity on the belief that Biden is weaponizing justice against Trump. But you grade Trump on a curve for, again, publicly, explicitly calling for the prosecution of his political opponents in 2016, in 2020 as the sitting president, and now in 2024. And they want you to grade him on a curve. And they want you to forgive his incompetence. They want you to forgive the fact that he failed to successfully prosecute his political opponents. Don't buy it, folks. He shouldn't get credit for trying and failing to do something nefarious. And I said we'd return to this, but again, this is a reminder. CREW, the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, put together a pretty good compilation from just a few days ago. Trump has threatened dozens of times to use the government to target political enemies. Trump has repeatedly promised to weaponize the federal government during a second administration by pursuing revenge, retaliation, or retribution against his political enemies. Okay? CREW analyzed over 13,000 of Trump's social posts from January 1st, 2023 to April 1st, 2024, so a little over a year, and found that while Trump has recently backed off some of his more violent rhetoric, threatening political opponents has been a consistent fixation for Trump. Okay? Since the start of last year, Trump has issued direct or implied threats on Truth Social to use the powers of the federal government to target Joe Biden during a second Trump administration 25 times. Specifically, Trump has threatened him with FBI raids, investigations, indictments, and even jail time. But Biden is not Trump's only target. He's also threatened or suggested that the FBI and the DOJ should take action against senators, judges, members of Biden's family, and even non-governmental organizations. Folks, and again, they bring the receipts. They bring the receipts with direct links. So, again, I don't know to what extent those of you are out there having these conversations with your loved ones, with your friends, with your acquaintances. This is important. It is important to draw a line in the sand and stay firm on this. They want you to believe that Joe Biden is doing something nefarious. They have no proof of it. And they also want you to believe that Donald Trump never attempted anything nefarious, which isn't true. He did, and we actually have the proof for it. Do not grade him on a curve. Do not give him the benefit of the doubt and hold their feet to the fire. That's what I believe. Let me know what you think in the comments.